This is the Horse Radio Network.
100 episodes, a million laughs, and too many drinks. Celebrate 5+ years of Heels Down Happy Hour this week. Thanks for tuning in. From Heels Down Mag, a podcast where horse pros chat about what's happening in the horse world over drinks. Welcome to Happy Hour. I'm Justine Griffin.
I'm Jessica Payne.
And I'm Ellie Woznicka. Welcome to episode 100 of Heels Down Happy Hour.
Justine, I had a memory pop up on Facebook that it was this week, 5 years ago, that we did our first podcast.
That is so wild to think about. Like 5 years.
5 years, and it's the 100th episode. Like, it's pretty fun that happened at the same time. Like, I was like, oh, that's so great. We're doing the 100th on the same week.
Oh, that is so crazy. That is very cool. Just that like happenstance, it all adds up, right?
100%.
I love that. It's been a lot of fun, you guys. You know, we've we've had some ups and downs, but it's been super fun to put this show on. And I feel like I've met so many interesting people who have become friends, like lifelong friends through this podcast. So, and that includes both of you, obviously. So,
no, it's been a lot of fun to make, and here's to 100 more. 5 more years, Justine.
All right. You too, Ellie. You're in it forever now.
You're in it forever.
I've only been here for 3 of the 5, but I'll take it.
You're in it for the last 5, or the next 5. I shouldn't say last 5, the next 5.
There we go.
This episode is brought to you by Purina.
All right. Drink this week is something that's definitely up my alley, but can be up Jess's alley too, with a little bit of tweaking. So it's a Black-Eyed Susan. So what you'll need is a half cup of orange juice, half cup of pineapple juice, 1 shot of vodka, 1 shot of light rum, and then half a shot of orange liqueur. You're going to combine everything with lots of ice. It recommends crushing the ice and then garnishing with an orange slice and a cherry. But if you are not as sweet as a fan as me, you can change out for bourbon or rye whiskey in place of the rum or the vodka, which would make it more enjoyable for someone like Jess, who doesn't like to feel like they're on an island when they're drinking. And you can also add, more fruit juice on top with seltzer water to make it slightly less boozy, if you're not trying to get there quick.
I like this. I think, this isn't something I would make like, on the regular, like it would be something special, but I think it sounds good.
That sounds really good.
All right, Jess, you got to kick us off for news this week because you have really wonderful news to share.
So this past week, it was a pretty epic one. So we stayed home and did a local show called the War Horse Series at the Carolina Horse Park. And if you guys don't know about that series, it's awesome. It's a schooling show, but I'm telling you, there are more people there than most events I go to. I'm not kidding. It's so much fun. Like everybody comes out. There were, dads grilling hamburgers, everything else. And so we went on Sunday and we called it the Showdown because when we decided to retire Van Diver at Kentucky, I had told Courtney that he owed us one more thing. And she slightly started to get mad at me because I don't know what she thought I was going to tell her. And I was like, calm down, calm down. The one thing he owes us is I had already talked to the other owners, Debbie and Kevin, and they said, absolutely tell her that she can take him to an event. Because all she said, she doesn't want to ride him long term. She just wanted to go to one event and go cross country on him, basically. So we signed her up for War Horse Modified, and she went out. But Doug had a young horse coming up the levels called Cadillac Ranch. He's a super awesome horse. So we were like, but he's green. This was his first modified. He'd been doing a couple trainings. So we're like, oh, it's going to be the battle of Courtney and Doug.
Gosh.
Oh yeah. And I'll tell a little poll later, which is sad for Doug, but great for Courtney. So I started doing Insta stories of this whole week. And it felt like a week. Sorry, it was only a day, but I probably put 15 stories plus on my Instagram. And so I did this whole thing where they would go together and it was this whole showdown. And they didn't care if they came in 12th and 13th place. Basically, all they wanted was to beat one another. Like that was the showdown. It wasn't to win the division. Like it was just the two of them. So they go in and Courtney puts in a great test. She puts in a 29. It was beautiful. She was the first time she ever broke 30. So it was awesome. So she does this. And so she goes in and we're like, oh, okay. You know, Tex has got to step up. That's what we call him. So he goes in and he does a great test. And long story short, Doug gets a 25. I find that was a little bit of a gift, but I was like, oh, okay, fine. It's a really nice horse. So I was like, okay. So he gets a 25. Well, he goes in jumping. I do another like Instagram story that's like, who jumped it best on this line? They both jump clear. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we're going down to cross country. And so they go, Doug crosses the finish flags and they announce over the thing that he's double clear. So I take this picture to do like a winner shot because I thought Doug won. And so all of a sudden, Courtney, you know, we're watching Courtney. It was so cute. Doug stayed on Tex and watched Courtney's like whole cross country. So we were all in the field. It was like amazing. Her parents came out. It was such a fun event. She crosses the finish flags and we're like, were you clean? And she's like, I mean, yeah, like, we're like, no, time. She's like, oh yeah, I was like 20 seconds under. And so we're like, okay, Doug's like, I think you won. I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, oh, I went down the wrong path and I needed to slow down at times because I was kind of getting run away. Like it was just needed to balance a little bit more. And I'm like, wait, you had time penalties? He's like, yeah, I think probably 5 or so. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Courtney might have won. And so we wait for the scores to post. And then I realized I have no winner's picture of Courtney. Like I have all like the group pictures and one of the girls and, you know, the whole barn came out. So they have this winner's picture. So I'm posting on Instagram and I will say I did make a kind of a funny post, sort of a mean post that I put winner of the showdown and it was Courtney. And then I used that picture I was going to use for the winner of Doug and I wrote loser on it. I wrote,
just rub it in.
So sorry, loser.
I love it. Good for Courtney.
So it was good for Courtney, and they put in a great test, and it was so fun. So it was such a great weekend, and everyone came out. And so my news this week is that I have had top level show jumpers, really good friends of mine, that are like, Paris 2024, Courtney and Van Diver. Like, everybody has loved this. So I was so happy for her. And it was just so fun to be part of.
She posted like the nicest, most emotional tribute on Facebook so after the day. I know. It makes me tear up. I'm just so happy for her that she got to have this.
She's a beautiful writer. And yeah, no, it was an awesome tribute. So we were super happy that we could be there and be able to do that for her.
Very cool. All right, Ellie, what do you got?
So definitely not as cute, but interesting. So judges in the UK are really cracking down on overweight horses in the show pen, and they're actually encouraging judges to place overweight horses lower on their cards. So the Showing Council Summer Conference for the UK had a meeting at the end of June on the 28th, and they have a weigh to win, so that's like weigh as in like weight scheme, where they actually have been awarding ribbons at horse shows to the horses that are in the best body condition. And then shows have been, you know, boasting about promoting healthy weight shows. And then at these shows, they're offering free condition scoring, like body condition scoring, as well as weight management advice. And it's kind of been spearheaded by Dr. Tasman Furtado. And so she brought up a lot of questions at this summer council conference on what they should do next. Because obviously there's still an overweight horse epidemic. I don't know if it is, you know, even between the UK and the US, but the UK is really cracking down on it because a lot of competitors still don't think their horses are overweight, despite, you know, vets strongly disagreeing with them. And the premise is that they feel that if overweight horses continue to win, their body condition is going to be emulated by people who see these winning rounds. So the show council chair, Dr. Jane Nixon, actually doesn't believe that obese horses should be placed at all. So almost just like if, you know, you went into a flat class and your horse is lame, the judge can, you know, scratch you and not place you at all. That's what they're wanting people to do, our judges to do in the UK. for overweight horses. And they're trying to push judges to go through body condition training, encourage judges to place overweight horses lower, and then also to explain to exhibitors why they have done so. So they're really trying to open up the conversation. And this even was present in the British show Pony Society, where they are also agreeing that overweight horses should be placed lower or not placed at all. And the whole point is to start this conversation of, look, your round was great, but your horse is really overweight, and here's what you can do to help your horse. So I think it's definitely interesting. I guess I haven't been to enough shows recently to really be able to see this much in the hunter jumpers, but definitely I think it's great to, focus on the horse's welfare, and obesity is definitely a problem. So I'm glad to see that they're taking a stance on it.
Interesting.
What do you have, Justine?
Okay, so I have a fun science story because of course I do.
Of course. Why would you have anything else?
So this story appeared in the Spark this week. So some of you might have already read it, but this interesting study from a university in Germany suggests that horses are actually better with numbers than we thought, which is
really
kind of bizarre to think about. So researchers who put the study together trained 3 Shetland ponies to be able to select images that they saw on a screen. So basically they taught them to seek out a visual prompt. So they would look at a computer screen and they would show a stimulus image in the center and then had 2 other images below that. And one of the 2 other ones matched the big one in the middle. And every time the pony touched a button that matched, that selected that the 2 were the same, they got a treat, essentially. So researchers were able to show that the ponies could correlate that these 2 images are the same or were matching in some way. So once the ponies mastered that, researchers ran the same test but used different quantities of the same image. So, for example, if the stimulus image was 2 dots, they would show 2 images, one with 2 dots and then another one with 3. And if the ponies picked the 2 dots that matched the sample, they would get the treat again. So then the size and the arrangement of the various images would change, and they would just try to test to see how the ponies would, process these various images and if they could, still match them with multiple choices and no other visual cues. And the researchers were able to basically say that the ponies are able to pick out geometric symbols and differentiate between them. They understood that 3 dots were different than a rhombus or a cross or a triangle. And they were able to say that all 3 ponies achieved 80% accuracy in at least 2 consecutive training sessions, which feels really wildly high. I love Michael, but I don't know if he would have an 80%. But
right.
Maybe he would with some training. And I guess if there's food involved, he would be pretty motivated. But it's kind of cool to think about, right? So if you want to read more about this specific study, we shared the link in the Spark and we'll share it again in the show notes. And we want to say shout out to everyone who supports the show on Patreon. We really appreciate everybody who donates, even if it's just a one-time donation or if you're a regular donor. We try to provide some cool behind-the-scenes fun things on the Patreon page just for you, for those people who choose to support us. So if you want to get some extras, if you can't get enough of Heels Down Happy Hour, you should consider becoming a Patreon supporter. You could do that by going to Patreon, which is patreon.com/heelsdown. All right, guys, I wanted to talk to you again about Equipanty, which is a product we've reviewed a couple of times on the show, but they just keep upping the ante and making riding underwear even better. And I know we've all ridden in them by now, but I think this is a really good time of year to really put this product to the test. If it could stand up to the heat and humidity of summer on the East Coast, then really it could stand up to anything. So Ellie, have you been riding in yours this summer?
Yes. They've been helping a lot for sure with my swamp booty. which I greatly appreciate. To not have that go through my pants, so at least only I know about like impending swamp booty, is important for me. But I've also worn them just like under jeans and like capris and stuff as I've like gone and like coached at different horse shows, just because they are so nice about like it's almost as if you put like the Equi In style shirts but on your hoo-ha. It's great. It's like it's like everything I want in underwear. I wear them way more than just riding. If I'm being completely honest, I wear them all the time.
You talk about them all the time. Like you wear them a lot.
I do.
Like you're obsessed with them, which is awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
what other colors do you have? Because I love that there's all those different colors.
Yeah. So I have a couple of like the navy ones.
Do you have the two-toned or just the...
The two-toned, I think, are newer. So I just have the all one color, but I want to get the two-toned because the other thing I do is I wear these like out as like yoga shorts kind of thing. So like, I definitely go to the grocery store in these. And I mean, I don't know, other people might know, but usually I think I'm the only one who knows. So yeah. So then I have like the white pair that I use, like when I'm in my breeches and stuff like that. Although I haven't had like them show through like tan or, darker colored breeches, but I'm paranoid with my white breeches that like I wear like, I always want to make sure I'm not like showing any underwear in white breeches. But yeah, I love these things all the time. How about for you, Justine? I mean, you're riding a lot more now and the sweat.
The sweat is something that is for real. And this is probably TMI, so just welcome to the show.
Heads
if you've never
up.
listened before. But I feel like summertime, I'm hard on my butt from riding and just being out in the elements of Florida. And that, I just feel like if I'm going to get acne or, heat rashes and things, it's always the summer and it sucks because I want to be able to ride and still continue my normal life, but like not feel embarrassed to put a bathing suit on. And I found that Equipanty really helps with that. They're super moisture wicking and they dry really fast. So I could be like totally super sweaty down there after a ride and then hose a horse off in the cross ties and completely drench myself and be dry within 10 minutes, which is important to me. I mean, I just took all of mine with me on my Europe trip because I knew we would be like walking for long days. We did a lot of biking, and I find that they're super applicable to any part of my life, not just riding, but that they are perfect for riding. And I think some critique in the past has been that they're a little expensive, but honestly, they last. Like it is worth the price because my first pair is going strong. After many rides, many horse show weekends, many yoga classes, many trips. I think the last time we talked about them, I told you guys this crazy weekend where I had 2 weddings in a 3-day horse trial. Well, these Equipanty were a freaking lifesaver that weekend because I didn't have time. And Equipanty literally was what I wore on my cross-country run. And they were the same pair that I wore when I was running to a wedding out on the beach. So
that's pretty awesome, actually.
I can't say enough good things. And like, don't buy the weird booty scrubs that say they're going to clear your butt acne, all that dumb Instagram ad stuff that exists right now. Just invest in a good pair of riding underpants. That's all you need to do. And your booty will thank you. So if you want to check out Equipanty for yourself, you can go to their website. It's EQUESPANTE.com.
Attention horse owners, are you looking to help your horse recover with ease after a strenuous workout? Would you like to nourish your horse and their digestive system? If so, try the new Purina Replenimash product. It's more than just a mash. Replenimash promotes hydration, replenishes electrolytes, and supports gastric comfort. Put Purina's research to the test. Stop at your local Purina retailer and grab a bag of their Purina Replenimash product. So our next guest needs no introduction because she has been a co-host with us, and we are so excited to have Alex Wells back with us. Hey.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me back on.
Oh, and a lot's changed since you came on last. I feel like we were giving advice for strollers and all that, feel like it's last. And now it's 2 kids later, an amazing couple weeks at Spruce Meadows and everything. It's like, you guys are kicked in and in full gear.
That we are. It's funny. I mean, a lot happens in a short amount of time, I guess, and you just keep on and roll with the punches.
Right. So I first want to talk about, it's so new that like with the Spruce Meadow, you guys, your whole team had an amazing week. Andrew, Gia, you winning the Grand Prix, like it is pretty spectacular because Spruce can, it's so tough and it's such a prestigious event. So congrats first off, but what's it like for the whole team to like really put in such a good week?
We're really, really lucky. We have a total A team in terms of our support, our staff, owners. We have a really fun group of students that came with us, and it was great energy, and everyone gets up there ready to work hard and get at it. And okay, there are for sure ups and downs, but when it all works out and everybody's able to have, at least one really solid result up there, it means a lot. So we're very thankful.
Yeah. And then I heard a little rumor that you might be kind of changing your AM status. Is that true?
I have indeed.
You have already?
Oh, wow.
That's exciting.
Yeah. It's really exciting. It's something that I've always wanted, and, Andrew and I have always wanted for the future of our business. But, just as you know, when you're having kids, sometimes, when you're in and out of it, it's hard to want to really make a full commitment. And we really felt like, not saying that we're totally done having kids necessarily, but at least for the time being, I felt comfortable enough to really make the commitment to, giving up my amateur status. And
that's so exciting. No, that's so exciting and great for you guys' business and everything else, that you guys are such an amazing team and everything already, that to go ahead and say, okay, look, we're going to do this as a huge partnership and really put this forth and make the commitment is pretty awesome. So I'm so excited for you because trust me, we are 2 and done. We are not having any more kids. So, 2 is a lot, but once you kind of get the system, I feel like, you're probably just getting in the groove and it's like, okay, like let's hit the ground running and keep going. So it's an exciting step forward for you guys.
Thank you. We're really excited. Yes. As you know, 1 + 1 does not equal 2 when it comes to kids. So, you get a groove going, and, we really felt like it was, maybe a bit overdue, but we're excited that we finally took the plunge and can, we've always done it together, but that we can, share in more of that professional role together.
No, absolutely.
Well, so Alex, so speaking of your business and how it's growing, it was a lot of fun as someone from afar who follows you guys to watch you build your new farm in Wellington. What a beautiful place. I know you guys spent a lot of time investing in building that dream property. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like? What went into it? Is it surreal to be in it now?
It's completely surreal. I mean, it's sort of, we stumbled on the property. I was actually pregnant with our first, Anderson, when we bought the property. We really weren't even looking to buy something at that point, and it just fell into our laps. And so that was back in 2018. And at that point, we just said, okay, well, we have the property. Let's take the time to really figure out, how we can best configure it and, make it work. It's not a massive property, none of the ones in Wellington really are. So you have to really try and map it out to best utilize it. And so the first thing we did was actually the site work. So we put the ring in. We have a really great ring and field, and that all settled in our we have all underground water in the rock drainage system, in our paddocks and the field. And we lived with that, and then actually put a tent up for a while to make sure that we were happy with where the barn would end up. And so after doing that, we started the building process. And finally, earlier this year, we were able to say that it was done. I think Andrew would argue that it's maybe 97% done, but for all intents and purposes, it's
I will say, in building a barn, I feel like if I get to the 90, I've said this for a long time, 95% to me is like done, because you're never going to be done. Like
you're never done.
You're never done. You're always, especially the boys, they're always going to want something else. They're always going to want a project. They're always going to want to do this.
Projects are never done. I know.
No,
I know. So it just never ends.
we've always said, like, I'm like, if I can get to 95%, and I'd say we're at like 94, 93. So I'm like pretty comfortable almost there. But at 95%, then it's done. And you're always going to want to make improvements and changes and all this. But yeah, no,
Totally.
97% is like, move in,
Done.
beautiful, keep going. It's done. You're done.
Totally. So we're really proud of it. And it's just, the fact that it's done and everything is the way that, even more than what we dreamed it would be is,
It's
a bonus.
beautiful.
So
It's beautiful.
thank you so much.
I might be knocking on the door next time in Wellington to come take a
Say, come
tour of
visit
it.
us. Come visit
I'll come
us.
visit
Andrews
and take a
love
tour
giving
because
tours.
I would love to.
Yes.
Oh my God, I would die. So that'd be awesome.
Absolutely. Everybody's welcome.
So the last time you were here, Alex, I was a listener and we were talking about what it was like you being a new mom and managing the baby and the horses. And I know you touched on this with, changing your status, but how is it now with another baby? How are you managing the horses and the business and all that?
It's never perfect, right? You always strive to have that perfect balance. And there are days I feel like I'm balancing it all like a champ. And there are days that I wish I was doing it better. But I just think that, as long as, for me personally, if I feel like I'm organized enough that I'm getting everything I need to do done at the barn and I'm there for my kids at the end of the day, I always try to be here in the morning when they wake up and breakfast if I can. Obviously, it doesn't always work out like that with the show mornings, but, we try to include them at the farm when we can and have them at the horse show. It's a juggling act, I think. And we really, like I said, family is so important to us. And so we try to incorporate them, in the day-to-day in our business as much as we can. And that's been really helpful for us to feel like we're getting enough time with them. We're able to, have enough time at the farm with the horses and everything else. And yeah, I mean, I don't have it all figured out, I think, but for the most part, I feel pretty good about the way that we're able to balance it all. And luckily Andrew is, he loves being a dad and he's so, just all he wants is to have the girls at the barn all the time. And so it really helps in keeping us all together.
Oh. So Alex, we can't have you on without reminiscing a little bit. So I wonder, do you have any favorite memories from your time being on the podcast these last couple of years? Jess and I just were talking about, it's been 5 years that we've been doing this podcast.
Oh my gosh.
This is our 100th episode, which just seems crazy. And we had such a great time
cool.
chatting with you over the years. So do you have any like standout silly moments or favorite memories?
Actually, there are quite a few, but there's
I'm
one
scared.
that comes to mind. I don't remember what the context of it was, but there was an episode where we were discussing underwear preferences.
Uh-huh.
I feel like that's multiple episodes.
I know. I was going to say it might have been more than once, but I remember one in particular was just really funny and kind of off kilter and, very real and authentic. And just, we had a really good laugh about that.
Yeah.
I feel like
somehow
underwear's
keeps
like a
coming
huge
back.
topic. It does.
It's really important, man. It's really important.
It is very important. Ellie, listen, underwear is important.
Oh, yes. I know all too well.
Oh, Alex, well, it was awesome having you on and just reminiscing a little bit, and just so glad you're doing so well. It's so much fun to watch you and Andrew and the team from afar.
Oh, thank you guys so much for having me back on. It's always great to talk with you guys and reminisce. And we had a lot of fun doing those episodes. I'm trying to think of what number episodes those were back in the day, but it seems like a lifetime ago.
I know, right? I mean, definitely years ago.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, thanks for coming back on, and we will have to have you back again soon.
Absolutely. Would love that. Always great to talk with you guys. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. I'm so excited to introduce our next guest, who is one of my favorite people on this planet. And she also owns, I think, my favorite dog in the whole wide world. I hope my dogs aren't listening.
So,
Yeah, right?
But they are.
But
I'm going to tell them.
Sally is back. Sally, how are you? Thank you so much for coming on.
So good. It's so nice to be back with you guys. I was just thinking about how long it's been, and I don't even want to say because I can't honestly remember. So it's about time.
I know. So this is our 100th episode. Can you believe
That's so crazy. That is insane.
I know.
And I feel like I was only like a blip on your radar at this point because it's been so long that you guys have been doing this. And I was like, and it started before I came on and it's continued on. And I'm just so proud of you. It's just amazing to see how much you've grown.
Oh, that's very nice of you to say, and a very mature
Yeah.
thing for us to think about. Because have we done a lot of growth, guys, in 5 years?
Sure. Sure. Yes. At least some.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, honestly, you too. I mean, since you were here last, you're now the managing editor at Eventing Nation. Gosh, you've covered so many amazing events. You were at the Olympics. You covered the inaugural
Yeah.
Maryland 5-star. Gosh, you're everywhere. So tell me more about your life. What's going on? How's everything?
Gosh, it's been kind of crazy. I kind of ended up back with Eventing Nation after a couple years away, and they needed a little bit of help. And I, as I do, generally just kind of jump right in and start working again. And it kind of emerged over the last year or so that the original publisher and founder, John Thier, who started Eventing Nation way back in 2010, which is really crazy to think how long Eventing Nation has been around. So he owns several other businesses, and he actually just had his first baby with his wife last spring or last summer. I'm going to be really bad. I hope he never listens to this because I feel like that's something I should remember. He just had a baby. And so he decided that stepping away from Eventing Nation Media, which also comprises Horse Nation. And so he basically put a really awesome offer on the table. And my colleague, Deanne Sloan, who, if any of you guys also listen to Horses in the Morning, you might have heard her on there with Glenn and Jamie quite a few times for the Horse Nation side of things. And she and I, along with Leslie Wiley, have taken basically co-ownership of the company. So we've just actually done that this spring. So it's actually quite new, but we've been operating as such for a few months now. So that's kind of crazy to think about how far that's come.
Yeah, dude, that's
super
amazing.
exciting.
I know. That is so cool. And
Thank you. I know. It's been crazy.
and you've been out there. So like I said, you're in Tokyo. So what's been your favorite event over the last year or couple of years that you've gotten to cover?
I think people will probably not enjoy me saying this, and I don't mean it to sound in any way, but I have to say one of the best events that I was able to go to in the last 2 years was actually Kentucky of 2021. And I hate to say that because spectators are what makes the sport go around. But gosh, it was a really interesting experience to be at that event.
It was
And
strange.
also, right, you were there, Jess. Like, it was strange because it was like this, everything was there except for the people. And it almost felt like the event was, and I hate to say it this way, so I don't want it to be taken in any way, but it felt like it was just for us, like the people that were there. And so, that was just such a special experience, Jess. I don't know if that sounds accurate or not, but it was.
No, it is.
different, right?
It's just, it was so different after all the years of, either competing or being there in every sort of capacity to per se, like I've been there, basically as everybody. And
Yeah.
it was very strange, like not good or bad in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was just so different. And it was,
Mhm.
sad that the show jumpers couldn't come because, they have to do the spectators and stuff. And there was
Mhm.
no tents. There was nothing. It was very odd moments because it was just your people. And so to me, it felt like I was almost at a European event and didn't know anybody, where
Yeah.
you just kind of do
Mhm.
nothing, but like kind of
Mhm.
sit with your people. And so it felt more that than anything
Yeah.
because it was like, okay, well, you just sit there because there's nobody here and it's not, I don't know. I thrive off kind of the craziness of Kentucky, of Land Rover and stuff. So it was
Sure.
just
Yeah.
different for me that I was like, wow, this is way different. I mean, there was no trade fair. There was nothing.
I know. It's crazy.
It was so strange.
Listen, I'm just going to say that my favorite thing was the fact that I was out there on a golf cart, sitting there taking pictures, front row seat. That's never going to happen again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Anyway, but I was
So you just took
wonderful.
advantage of those moments.
Exactly. You have to find the silver lining in it. And I will
Yeah.
say that this year, having the spectators back, it felt so much more special, if that's the right word, to have all those people back and after
I
the
thought
last
it was
couple
more
years.
like
So,
home. Yeah. It was more
absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been cool. I mean, the Olympics were crazy. That was also weird that there were no spectators there. And like, we were kept so sequestered away from the mainstream transportation. That we had our own public transportation only for Olympic credentialed people. So that was kind of like operating in a bubble. Jesse probably talked all about that last year, but
so I didn't go.
Cool.
So
that's right. You weren't actually there.
No, because I had the 2 kids, and so and they could just do the 2 owners. So it was Debbie and Kevin. So
I forgot.
I couldn't even imagine that would have been more like we didn't really we touched on the other side of it, but I think we touched about Doug, but for a media and kind of spectator owner kind of point of view, no, we didn't really see that. So it was but it was I mean, it was very different. Like there was Doug talks about the restaurants where you could go and like they didn't even serve alcohol at a restaurant because they were in a state of emergency. So he was like, it was very strange.
I'd be keen to go back to Japan now, or like, now that some more time has passed and things aren't quite as locked down. I'd be curious to go back, but I didn't get to see anything.
Well, that's it. He was like, I can't believe I went to Tokyo and I couldn't even like sightsee. And that was kind of for me, because I was like, I'd want to go eat really good sushi and I'd really want to go explore. And the gardens are apparently beautiful in the city. And so none of which anybody was able to do. So it was kind of sad and different for especially even the Japanese people to not be able to share their culture and their highlights. And no one got to see anything, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, and the Japanese riders were there, had been in Europe training or UK training, were home in their home country, and their family could not come. Yeah.
No. Wow. They were on a 14-day quarantine. Yeah. Crazy. So it's very strange.
So Sally, you're not only managing editor at Eventing Nation, but you're also the owner now. What is that like? What has this experience taught you?
Well, I'm still learning a lot. I mean, there's a lot that I think when you get an opportunity like this, I would like to think that I have picked up a lot of experience. And to be completely honest, my time with Heels Down, I think, educated me a lot in terms of what I needed to do, because I really learned a lot from Patricia in terms of business management and idea cultivation and that sort of thing. And so, I really am very grateful for the time that I spent learning from her and just from my other positions that I've held through the years. And the biggest challenge has just been just understanding how much you can take on. I have a tendency to say yes to as many things as I can. Part of that is a financial motivation, and part of it is just feeling like I can and I want to do things. But what generally happens is that I don't do my best work because I'm overloaded. So taking on ownership has taught me a lot about prioritizing and understanding what is worth your time and your investment and your money and your energy versus what can wait and what's maybe not so good for the big picture. So that's been a learning process, and the business needed somebody to step in and run it. And I'm happy to do that. But it's also been, like I said, it's been a learning experience, because you just kind of don't know what you don't know, and you find out as you go. So, but I'm very lucky. I mean, John has been very supportive and helped us kind of transition everything. And my partner, Deanne, has been wonderful to kind of work alongside me. And Leslie has been really helpful on the editorial side. So we are pulling it together. It's a duct tape and like sandpaper job, but we're doing it. So yeah, it's been an experience for sure, but I'm very excited about it.
So the biggest question of the day is I need a Cooper update. Like, how's he doing?
I miss him so much.
I miss the pictures.
You guys, you have to go on my Instagram right this second. You have to go look at the video that I posted, because nobody seems to think that it's as cool as I do. I taught him how to passage.
Stop it.
I did see this. I did see this.
Or like
I did not see this.
Or something. So, I need you guys to go. Right?
Oh, he's so precious.
He's so cute.
So, okay. So I have discovered positive reinforcement training for Chihuahuas.
Stop. I see the clicker.
The clicker. This dog, I swear to God, this dog went for he's 8 this year. And until he was about 6.5 or possibly 7, he didn't really know anything except how to spin around like crazy when he was wanting food or something. Because that's like the only thing that he picked up when he was a puppy, and like somehow it stuck. So I could never get him to learn how to sit or differentiate between anything. So I started using the clicker somehow, and now he picks up things in like 2 seconds. It's crazy. I don't want to brag, but he's
Okay,
like the
so
smartest chihuahua.
What I really want to brag about is the fact that in the video, not only is that the cutest video, and I can't stop watching it currently, but I love that there's a picture of Cooper in the background.
Yeah, right.
Listen,
And it's not hanging on the wall. It's not hanging on the wall. It's hanging where he can see it.
No, it's an artist expression. You know, like a lot of artists, they have like the messy like paintings up against the. You know, that's the vibe I'm going for here.
I
No,
see.
it's
But I
going to
also
the
have
vibe that he can see it. I feel like you're going for the vibe that he can see his own picture.
For sure. I will also have to show you the fact that he has also a pillow and a blanket that each also have his face. I didn't buy those. Those I did not buy. Those were gifts.
Oh, my mom found a picture. I mean, a pillow, and it's this like little pillow, whatever. It's actually kind of creepy, to be honest. There's this pillow that looks like Nolan, my chihuahua. And now Hudson sleeps with it. It was like a decorative pillow that my mom bought as like a joke, and it like sat in the living room type thing. And oh no, now it's like a full on kind of creepy pillow that's like all over our house because Hudson takes
Is it one of those cuddle
everywhere.
phones? Is that what it is?
No, it wasn't of Nolan. She found this at a random store, and it
okay.
just
It just looks
happens
like her.
to
Okay.
look identical
Okay.
to her. So my mom's like,
That's so
how fun
funny.
would this be? I bought it. So now the Nolan pillow goes everywhere.
Oh my God,
Literally.
that's hilarious. Okay, well, I wasn't going to judge you because I totally want a cuddle phone. So, you know. there's
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I would have done it, but my mom beat me to it and found some random person that like had this. Like, I don't even know where she found it, to be honest. She comes home and she goes, how creepy is this? It looks like Nolan. And I'm like, so you bought it?
So you
She
bought
goes,
it and brought it home.
Yeah. She goes, absolutely. How could I let it sit there? I was like, you know what? Good point. Good
And now
point.
it has a practical use. Now it's Hudson's. Huh?
Exactly.
And now it's Hudson's. It's one of his like
Hudson's gonna have that
500
for the rest of
pillows.
his life.
Oh yeah.
He's going to
The
take
one
it to
that's
college
like,
with him.
he has like the really nice one that like somebody gave him that has his name and like it's so pretty with his date of birth and it's beautiful. And then he has Nolan pillow, and then he has like his other awkward like, I don't know what even it is. It looks like a monkey, a blue monkey or something pillow. And I'm like, oh, okay, this variety is amazing, man.
Yeah, I can't. At least you have like a human child to bring toys home to. I just buy stuffed animals for my dog. So
Aw.
I'm not sure
It
it's any
is what it
better, to be honest.
Give the gift of a better ride with EcoGold. Whether you're looking to improve your saddle fit, stop saddle slipping, or soothe a cold-backed horse, EcoGold's high-performance pads can help. Shop the entire collection at ecogold.ca.
All right, Sally, we do have to ask you. We had Alex on earlier, Alex Wells. We were reminiscing on our favorite podcast memories, so we got to hear yours.
God.
What do you have like a a good silly, it could be cringeworthy, it could be funny, it could be sentimental, any favorite conversations that we had on the podcast over the years?
honestly, the only things that come to mind are cringeworthy because I only remember myself feeling uncomfortable in situations. Like those are the strongest imprinted memories I have. So and I'm actually not going to name a name because I remember who this was, and I'm not going to name them because I don't want to make them feel bad. It really wasn't their fault. It was more my fault. But I remember doing this interview with somebody, and that's as specific as I'll get. And it was just one of those people that wasn't really that forthcoming with their talking. And so you kind of had to balance the three of us and then the guest. And then the guest wasn't really doing a whole lot of like giving with his, well, you know, there, I just narrowed it down a little bit with his speech.
Sure.
So anyway, it's not even that good of a story, but it was just one of those things where I could like sense how uncomfortable I was because I felt like I was like having to really work to get this interview done. And it was like, we weren't even live, but we were recording it, you know, like you just feel all that pressure. So that's, you know, that's not even a good story, but that's a memory.
Your
A feeling memory that I
uncomfortableness.
have.
Yeah,
Your
uncomfortableness.
anxiety from
honest-
the podcast interviews.
Yeah.
It's a great memory, guys. But honestly though, I have to say though, if I had to pick like the positive memory that I carry, it's that Kentucky live episode that we did.
That was
one
so fun.
That
That
was
picture
super
comes up
fun.
on my memories every year on Facebook, and it just makes me so happy because I I love all of the people that we had on, and it was just.
But
it
I
was a
feel
good
like
time.
that's part of what happened with COVID that kind of killed that, because it was so fun for us all to be there and do the live interviews, and like everyone that came on, like it was so fun, and like the bourbon tastings and everything else. I mean, the Roses was super fun, but just in general, like everything about it, it just brought, when we were in the trade fair, it brought back so many great memories that I do miss the lives.
It's also much harder
back sometime.
I know. We have to really try. But I feel like it's much harder to ask somebody in person when they're sitting next to you, when you have a margarita and an ice boot, what kind of underwear that they ride in. It's much easier to do that from afar.
Yeah, because you don't have to feel that uncomfortable. You're like, I can hang up the phone and they won't see my face.
Because I think it was like
I have to see them all weekend.
Yep. I think it was Tick and it was like Waylon. And we're just sitting there. We're like, so we're going to ask you about your underwear.
There's no turning back now.
Yeah.
I think one of them said they wore a thong.
Yeah. I can't remember who.
That's worth digging up the recording just to listen to see who said that.
Yeah. It might have been Waylon.
I think it was Waylon, actually.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
All right, Sally. Well, we can't let you go without playing Rose and Thorn with us.
Okay.
So start thinking. Who wants to go first?
All right.
Silence. Nobody wants to go first.
Okay. Hey, listen, I'll go first.
It.
I'll go first.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm just gonna do it. So I actually have one more bit of news. I think Justine might know, but I don't actually know. Maybe you don't. So my Rose is, they're actually very related. My Rose is that we are actually relocating soon. My boyfriend Kyle was in the Navy for 11 years, and he got out right before COVID hit and started school full time to finish his undergraduate degree. So he's been in community college for the last couple of years and building up to transfer to a 4-year university to pursue mechanical engineering. And he actually was just admitted to Stanford.
Wow.
So we are moving up to the Bay Area.
Nice.
In like 2 months. So
that is so exciting.
Yeah. So we were kind of like, we applied to a few schools on the East Coast. We applied to North Carolina State. So I actually just had texted Courtney to tell her. I was like, oh, I might be a lot closer, which unfortunately that's not happening anymore. But so we are moving. So that's super exciting. I'm actually really happy too, because I guess it's like total horse country right up there at Woodside. There's like the Woodside eventing, and then there's a whole bunch of barns and stuff. So I've already got an in with one of the guys at Woodside's going to show me around when I get up there. So I'm super excited. But my thorn is just that I freaking hate moving. I've just moved too much, and so I don't have that much stuff, thankfully, because of how often we've moved. But I'm definitely ready to get that part over with. And we actually are moving the week of WEG eventing. So I was going to go to WEG with Tilly Barrett, our British correspondent, who is also going, but I'm not going to go anymore. But I was able to send Shelby Allen, which is our Georgia-based reporter, and this is going to be her first big international trip for us. So she's super excited. So it worked out really well.
Okay. Oh, I'm excited for your move, though. I think that's going to be great for you guys.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. He's really excited. So, and it's actually gorgeous. It's a little slice of peaceful paradise up there. So
it's beautiful up there.
I'm quite looking forward to it. Yeah. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did, honestly.
Yeah, I think Liza Horan's like right in that area as well.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, there's quite a few, I think, right up in that area. So I'm kind of
quite a few because she's in the Bay Area.
Nice. Okay, cool.
She's
good
there. Yeah, she does like both the jumpers and eventing. So yeah, for sure.
Nice. Cool.
Ellie, what about you? You ready to go? You did it.
Oh, I'm so ready. So,
oh gosh.
I guess my thorn would be that like it's way too hot for me. Like I'm just very angry about it. One, I don't have air conditioning in my house. Like I have window units, but that doesn't cut it for someone who grew up on central air. I'm just not loving it. It's not fun. But
be careful what you wish for, because it's always then the opposite is you have the freezing temps.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I prefer those. I can wear 7 layers and be okay. I can't rip off my own skin. Like I have to wear my skin at some level.
Oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I'm pretty sure my neighbors have been doing hay, and I'm pretty sure they have seen me walk out to feed the horses lunch in my underwear because I'm like, screw that. I'm not putting
Just
clothes
tell
on.
them it's a bikini.
Yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
they're probably like, why are you wearing that, to go feed the horses? But I don't care. It's whatever. But along with the heat, like we haven't had rain in so long that like,
Oh, really?
like my pastures aren't even like green. They're like yellow at this point. Luckily, we got all the hay done that we need, for the winter. So we've got like, 1,600 bales or whatever inside, but not loving it. I don't want to show. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be outside. So it just kind of like puts a damper on all of that. So hopefully it will start to cool down because I'm really sick of it. Yeah. I guess I'm becoming more of a fair weather rider now that I'm old. I used to, like when you're a kid, you're like, yeah, you don't care. Like if you're sweating, you don't care if you're freezing. You're like, it's just fun. And now you're like, no, I don't want to do it. No, thank you. So I guess
Totally.
that would be my thorn is the weather is really like putting a damper on like my life goals. But my rose is that I'm going to take Berkeley to Saratoga again this year in August. So I probably should ride him. I haven't ridden him in like 2 weeks. But it's been too hot. He's like, I don't want to work. I don't want to work either. But so I'm excited to go, take him to an away show, which we don't, do very often anymore. So fingers crossed that it will be colder up in Saratoga. Last year when I drove to Saratoga, the AC broke in my truck. So I literally drove 3 hours like in 90-degree weather with it was awful. So if that happens again, I'm turning around. I'll just I'm not doing it.
You're done.
No, yeah. But I'm excited. It'll be with my sister and my mom again. So it'll be fun to see them in horse show with my sister. And yeah. So, I mean, she jumps way big sticks, which freaked me out. But I'm going to love watching her from the sides. And so it'll be fun. I'm excited to do that and praying for cold weather.
Oh my gosh. All right. What about you, Jess?
So my rose, well, I guess I'll start with my thorn. My thorn is that I said a while ago, I think, maybe not, that our head nanny, girl that had been with us for a while, had left. And that was really sad. And I've had a good summer girl and people that have come in and really helped out. And we've been very lucky because we have had people come in and really step up. But I still have not been able to find one that is full time that wants to stay and travel. And I know this is just pettiness, but it's it's just a lot of work sometimes. You're like, okay, well, because then they work or they, decide they want to do something else or everything else. So I am still battling, trying to find a nanny for more than a couple weeks period time.
Oh, geez.
Well, plus it's hard to just
So-
get in a routine that way. When you're,
It's hard.
Kind of
It's hard because
bouncing.
and I don't want to sound not appreciative because there have been so many amazing girls that have stepped up and helped out when they can and what they're able to. And so it's been awesome, but I feel I just keep having to repeat it every couple weeks, oh, here's the drill. Here's this, here's that. And one could come for the summer, one could come for this period of time, one could come for that period of time. And I'm starting to get a little draining, to be honest. I'm
sure.
this is a lot. Doug's yeah, this is a lot. So our poor girls at the barn have taken the toll on it because then they have had to be nannies a lot. So, not full time or anything, but they've really, once you get in a system and then everybody kind of gets in the groove, it's great, but it's hard when it's temps basically. So that is definitely my rose, is that it's been a good couple months of lots of great people filling in, but it's a lot. So that is definitely my thorn. But my rose is, well, I mean, I still can't get over the whole Courtney and Doug thing. That was probably the
Aw.
highlight of my I don't know, months to come. But also not horse related is that we talked about a little bit when Alex was on, that our barn is like, we've gotten a lot of the major projects done. So I'm like finally feeling at ease at that part of my life because the barn is feeling finally almost finished. So that has been like a huge relief in Rose because we can start to like really enjoy it. And it's pretty awesome.
I'm
Awesome.
coming for a tour the next time I'm home to visit my parents. So
You need to.
Yeah,
You
put
need
it on
to.
your
It's been
calendar.
so much fun. No, definitely come do a tour. We like to take everybody around on the golf cart. Like that's Doug's favorite thing. He's like, okay, I'm going to show this, and then we'll take a golf cart tour. And he likes to, show where he's
Sign
going to
me
go
up.
and show this.
I'm there.
And he planted trees in the middle of summer, which, yes, listeners, I do understand was not an ideal situation. But he put a drip line and everything in, so they're okay. But he's like, they're tiny, tiny trees. And he's like, look, that one's got great growth. And so I think his favorite thing to do is drive everybody around and show his trees off to everybody.
That feels
that's
like
Kyle
such a
Carter's
dad
favorite
thing.
too.
It's
Yeah,
such a
it must be. Like, I think we should put Kyle and Doug on dueling golf cart tours to see who can like
and
overtalk
like
the other
video
one.
it and see who takes
Yes.
longer because
Yes.
No.
we literally
Yes.
go and he's like, guys, look, oh, that one's definitely, oh, I thought that one was dead last week. It's definitely living. And I'm like, okay.
They'll turn it into like a Ride IQ thing, offshoot somehow, and it'll be 5 hours long because they both
And they will
stop
t-
talking.
on Ride IQ, they will teach you how to plant a tree.
Yep. Pitch it.
Kyle and Doug, that's your next segment is Ride
Trees and
IQ's
bamboo.
But
trees
even-
and bamboo.
I thought Kyle gave up on the bamboo. I thought that
Oh,
ended.
did
In
he?
yeah, I thought it ended in failure.
Yeah, because I think it kind of went
Oh.
out of control.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
it was very foresty the last I was there, which was in January.
So I think, yeah, Doug's not allowed to plant bamboo. Definitely not that.
Okay.
But
that's what we
okay.
learned from that experience.
yes, we did learn that from. But Doug has gotten a tree farm on our property because there was like part of the pasture. It was all hay farms, and like he didn't mow part of like way down below. So he like didn't mow it, and he's like, look at all these trees that have naturally grown. So he transplants them all the time. I'm not kidding you.
I'm not going
Wow.
to be impressed until he
shows-
turns it into a money tree.
It's, he shows everybody. He's like, this is the tree I transplanted from my tree farm. I'm like, oh my goodness.
You need to just secretly film him like busting
Yes.
around in his golf cart inspecting trees and send it to us so we can laugh.
I will. I'll be like, here, we're off for our golf cart ride again. See, our trees are living or dying. So
Oh
that
my
is my
gosh.
rose, is that I have a tree farm apparently. Is what my rose turned into. Oh my goodness. All right, Allie, not Allie, Justine, what is yours?
Ooh, so I guess my rose is that I just got back from a wonderful trip with my husband. We did Norway, Denmark, and Sweden, and it was the best time of year to leave Florida because it's miserably hot and just straight up awful here right now. So it was nice to be in some cooler weather and some great cities. We ate some wonderful food. And we just had a really great trip. It was our first big trip since the pandemic, so it was nice to feel like to be excited to go somewhere, and it was great. I can't literally
It looked beautiful.
the trip just like
I know.
we had no troubles except for trying to get home. Our poor planning, we traveled back over July 4th weekend, which was pretty insane, but we survived. So we survived. Our luggage was slightly delayed. They lost it, but it did eventually show up. So,
Oh, it's good. That's been a problem lately.
yeah, I know. So, all things considered, it could have been 1,000 times worse for us. So we had a wonderful time. It was great. It was nice
It
to
was amazing.
just to go somewhere again. So I would say my thorn would have to be, I'm just going crazy that I can't ride my horse. I'm riding lots of horses. I rode 4 today. And so I'm riding a ton, which is great, but none of them are Michael, so which is a bummer.
That's kind
yeah.
of
But he's hanging
How
in
is
there.
he doing?
He's great. He's a wonderful patient. He's like I'm watching all his muscle waste away. He's like growing a dad bod, but he's like totally
He's
cool with
loving
that. Yeah, he's like, hey,
he
what's
probably
up?
loves dad bod life.
Yeah. He's like, I'm good with this. Whatever. It's hot out. Leave me in here. So no, he's such an easygoing guy. He's like a very easy one to, you know what I mean, to just have. He's not losing his mind. He's like, whatever. So we get an ultrasound this week. We'll see what it looks like. Fingers crossed it's going in the right direction, you know?
Yeah.
Slowly and surely.
But, you know, it's just such a mental thing. Like, I'm riding very nice horses, some great, like across the spectrum, all different types. I'm learning a lot. I'm grateful to be able to ride. But you know what I mean? It's like, you know, when you get on yours, that it's home, you know, I just miss that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
yeah. So I feel like every day I get up and I like have this insane appetite to ride. And then I never like scratch that itch because it's not my horse.
That makes sense.
Okay. All right. I don't know if that makes me sound selfish or not, but
No, but it's
Absolutely not.
It's the personal
Yeah.
part. No.
yeah. So I'm just trying to stay sane while I wait for him to get better. So that's pretty much it.
For sure. Well, hopefully it gets better and you're able to. It's nice that you're getting that experience, but it's, you know, that's why we all do this at the end of the day, is because we want to have that relationship with that horse. And so it's hard to not have that every day.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. But Sally, it was so wonderful to have you on. We miss you.
We do
I
miss
miss
you.
you guys.
You need to come
too.
back
This has
on.
been really great. Yeah, I'm happy to come anytime. This is always a fun time. I really like hanging out with you guys.
All right, guys. So we have this mailbag from Mary, who's in our Facebook group, and she needs help on learning how to ride with shortening her reins. So this is what Mary has to say. How many others out there have heard it over and over? I've been very lucky to have amazing and patient trainers, but they all tell me the same thing: shorten my reins. So Mary's question is, has anyone found an effective way to end this bad habit? I figured, Jess, you're the perfect person to tackle this for Mary.
Yes, because I've heard it my whole life as well, Mary. Don't worry, you're not alone. I'm like, that is what I hear. Shorten your reins. I'm like, my arms don't go any shorter. I actually have responded that. Don't worry, Mary, because I don't feel that they go any shorter. So what has helped me was two different things. I started riding and it started as like a neck strap type thing. And now I use Cedarly D-Bake's, honestly, the best one I found, but it makes a breastplate and it goes quite high. So it's not a 5-point, but it like goes to where the girth is, where you do up your girth, and then it goes to the bottom, like in between your girth. And then it has a piece that goes over their neck. And it's the perfect piece to where your hands should be for me. And so I was like, great. So then every time I'd look like it was a vocal point ahead of me too. So my hands would always be more towards the saddle pad and everything. And they'd be like, shorten your reins. And then they'd just teeter back to the saddle pad. And so that it was more of a visual thing that if they did get short because, you know, they got sweaty, whatever else I did, I could just then myself think like, put my hands forward because they need to be up there. So I'd keep my reins shorter. And it was a very visual thing. So somebody had asked me a while ago, like, why do you use a neck strap? This is so many years ago before the breastplate thing, because the other breastplates were so far, like the 5 points were so far back that the visual was too far for me. So it needed to be up high. So when I started doing the neck strap, it was literally a visual thing. So I could keep my hands up there. And the other thing I found when I was flatting that they get longer, not so much jumping, the breastplate was the best, but flatting, I'd still put on that breastplate, or I'd do the reins that had the little stopper type things on one side. So it wasn't both sides a lot of times. And I would do it where some of them had both sides, but basically the little notches. So then I knew how, like 2 notches in basically is where I needed to be. And next thing I know, I'd be at 4 notches. And I was like, supposed to be at 2 notches. So then that kind of, those visual things for me were huge, if that makes sense.
That makes sense to me. I mean, Ellie, do you have any advice?
Yeah, so it's similar, right? Because I think a lot of, you know, like younger riders, especially, you know, you can use those like colored reins, like the rubber ones, you know, and you could tell your walk trotters and stuff, grab the blue, you know. So that always helped. But I mean, I have this habit too. Like, I mean, whenever my sister sees me ride, she yells at me to get my hands out of my crotch. And, you know, it's hard, especially being a crossover rider, right? Because I'm used to riding, you know, half my horse is on a drape and then oh crap, I have to like actually have contact with Berkeley if I'm going to jump a jump. So definitely understand that. The notches, I've even done that with braided reins too, Jess, where you're just like, okay, I have to see 6 braids or 2 braids,
Yeah.
But there are also, I've just had people like take either hair elastics and, tie them on the reins, or there are
that's
actually
a good idea.
There are actually training rein markers. They're like just like rubber, like things you can slip onto the rein, and you can just put those where you need to be. And they're rubber, so you can still like hold on to them and cover them. But they're nice because you can still hold on over them, and you can feel like, oh, I'm I can't feel that little notch anymore. And those are great because you can put them wherever you need it on the rein. I think the brand is like None Finer. I think. Something like that.
Okay.
But you can just use hair. You can just use hair ties, or electrical tape I've used too. But things like that to just like get yourself in the mindset. Yeah, those are all I know. I mean, they sometimes help me. I still ride in my hands in my garage, so I can't help you there.
The struggle is real. So if you have a question for us that you want us to answer on the air, you can always send us an email. Our email is hello@heelsdownmedia.com, or you can join our Facebook group, which is the Heels Down Happy Hour Podcast Lounge. So to help celebrate our 100th episode, we made a call out to you guys, our listeners. We wanted to hear from you on why you love the show, if you had any favorite memories. So get ready. We've queued up some of our favorite voicemails from our listeners, and we're going to play those here for you now.
Hello, ladies, and happy 100. I just want to take a moment and say thank you for all the knowledge and advice that you've given over the last 100 episodes. I truly feel like I'm a better horsewoman because of it. Here's to the next 100. Cheers!
Hey, Heels Down. This is Grace, long-time listener. I just wanted to take a second and just express my thanks that you've kept the show going. I typically listen to y'all when I'm doing my monotonous chores like cleaning tack or picking stalls, and I just wanted to say thank you to Ellie, Jess, and Justine for just being such great models of, lifelong horsemanship and showing riders around the country that it's okay to be at really any level in your riding, your horse care, as long as you're willing to, create community, ask questions, and I just appreciate the podcast so much. You guys have really helped me keep a clear mind in my own horse life, and it's just such a pleasure to listen to y'all, and I wish you the best, and I hope for 100 more episodes. All right, y'all, have a great day. Bye.
If you want to hear more from us, you can subscribe to the Heels Down Spark, our daily equestrian newsletter, by going to bit.ly/spark-by-HD. And we want to say thank you to our partners this week, Equipanty, Purina, and EcoGold. Guys, we need a special cheers for 100 episodes.
Absolutely.
It's been a blast. I love doing this with you ladies.
Yeah, it's definitely best part of my week.
I can't wait for 5 more.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.